The signal from beyond. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the UES Pathfinder, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. Through the reinforced viewport, the vast emptiness of space stretched before her, punctuated by the distant twinkling of stars. After 20 years of interstellar exploration, humanity had yet to encounter another intelligent species. The cosmos, it seemed, was a lonely place. "Commander," Lieutenant Zhang's voice crackled through her comms. "We're picking up something unusual on long-range sensors." Reyes made her way to the bridge, where the crew worked with focused precision at their stations. The Pathfinder had been mapping the edges of the Cygnus arm for the past 6 months, charting systems for potential colonization. "What have you got, Lieutenant?" Reyes asked, leaning over Zhang's console. "A signal, ma'am. Artificial in origin. Definitely not natural cosmic radiation." Zhang's fingers danced over the holographic interface. "It's repeating on a precise interval, and it's not one of ours." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Reyes asked, keeping her voice steady despite the adrenaline now coursing through her veins. "Yes, Mom. It's coming from a system about 3 light years from our position. No official designation, but our catalog refers to it as CT-379. Put it on speakers." The bridge filled with a series of rhythmic pulses, rising and falling in intensity. To human ears, it sounded almost like a heartbeat, but with complex variations that suggested purpose and intelligence. "Dr. Okafor," Reyes called to the ship's xenolinguist. "Your thoughts?" Nandi Okafor had spent his career theorizing about potential alien communication methods. Now he listened intently, his eyes closed in concentration. "It's structured," he said finally. "Too regular to be random noise. The pattern repeats every 47 seconds, but with subtle variations." He looked up at Reyes. "Commander, I believe this is a distress signal." Reyes nodded slowly. "Record everything. I need to contact Earth Command." Admiral Jackson's holographic projection looked grave as he addressed the assembled officers in the Pathfinder's conference room. "The Security Council has been deliberating for the past 12 hours, he said. "This is unprecedented territory for us." "With respect, Admiral," Reyes interjected. "While Earth deliberates, someone out there could be dying." "We understand the urgency, Commander," Jackson replied. "But we must consider all implications. If this is truly first contact with an alien civilization, our response will define humanity's place in the galaxy." Dr. Helena Rodriguez, the Pathfinder's chief scientist, leaned forward. "The signal patterns suggest urgency. Based on the degradation across transmission bands, they're using the last of their communication resources." "What if it's a trap?" asked Major Chen, head of security. "Throughout our history, distress signals have been used as bait." "And throughout our history," Reyes countered, "ignoring cries for help has rarely been the right choice." The debate continued for hours, with opinions divided. Finally, Admiral Jackson's hologram sighed. "The Council has reached a decision. The Pathfinder is authorized to investigate, but with extreme caution. You will take all necessary defensive measures. If you confirm the presence of an intelligent species in distress, you are authorized to render humanitarian aid within reasonable risk parameters." "Thank you, Admiral," Reyes said, relief evident in her voice. "Commander," Jackson added before signing off, "you'll be making history, but your primary responsibility remains the safety of your crew and the representation of Earth. Choose wisely." The Pathfinder dropped out of FTL at the edge of the CT-379 system, sensors at maximum range. What they found shocked everyone on board. The system contained 7 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star similar to Sol. The third planet, a blue-green world with white cloud patterns, bore unmistakable signs of advanced civilization. But something was wrong. "Multiple debris fields in orbit," reported Lieutenant Zhang, "consistent with destroyed spacecraft. Life signs." Rise asked. Difficult to tell at this range, but environmental readings from the planet show atmospheric disturbances consistent with large-scale weapons discharge. We're still receiving the distress signal, Dr. Okafor added. Stronger now, and I've isolated additional information embedded in the carrier wave. He looked up from his console, face pale. They're under attack. Reyes made her decision immediately. Battle stations. Approach with caution, but maximum speed. Major Chen, ready a response team. As they closed distance to the planet, the situation became clearer. A fleet of massive ships hung in orbit, methodically bombarding the surface with energy weapons. The attacking vessels were angular, almost crystalline in appearance, with no visible propulsion systems. Those ships don't match the architecture of the surface structures, Rodriguez observed. They're two different species. The signals coming from this region. Okafor indicated an area where the bombardment was particularly intense, and I've made progress on the translation. They're calling themselves the Alani. They're begging for help. Reyes clenched her jaw. The Pathfinder was an exploration vessel, not a warship. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but she had made a promise when she took command, to uphold humanity's highest ideals, even in the darkest corners of space. Major Chen, what are our options? The security chief studied the tactical display. Those ships are focused on the planet. They haven't detected us yet. We might be able to slip past them using our stealth systems and land a team near the signal source. Assemble your best people, Reyes ordered. Dr. Okafor, you're going too. We need someone who can communicate. Commander, Chen said, with respect, we don't know anything about these aliens or what they're capable of. No, Reyes agreed, but we know they asked for help. That's enough to start with. The dropship descended through the war-torn atmosphere, its stealth systems straining to maintain invisibility. Inside, Major Chen's team checked their gear one final time. None of them had trained for first contact in the middle of an alien war, but they were adaptable, a human specialty. Remember, Chen instructed, we're here to assess and potentially evacuate survivors. Defensive posture only. The ship touched down in what appeared to be the ruins of a once beautiful city. The architecture was organic, with flowing lines and spiral structures that seemed to grow from the ground itself. Now, much of it lay in ruins. Atmosphere is breathable, announced Dr. Rodriguez, checking her instruments. Gravity slightly less than Earth standard. No immediate biohazards detected, but keep filters engaged just in case. They moved through the ruins cautiously, following the signal to a massive structure that had partially collapsed. Unlike the surrounding buildings, this one showed signs of reinforcement, a last stand. Movement ahead, warned Sergeant Diaz, the team's point. They raised their weapons instinctively, then lowered them as the figures emerged from the shadows. The aliens were tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with color. They had 4 arms and large, expressive eyes that dominated their narrow faces. One stepped forward, its movements weak but determined. Dr. Okafor activated his translation device, which had been programmed with the basics decoded from the signal. He spoke a few halting words in what the computer suggested might be their language. The aliens' response was immediate, surprise, then something like hope. It gestured urgently for them to follow. Inside the fortified structure, they found hundreds more of the Alani, many injured, all showing signs of exhaustion and malnutrition. Children huddled with adults, their wide eyes reflecting fear and confusion at the strange newcomers. Through laborious translation efforts, the humans learned the basics of the situation. The Alani were peaceful, having developed advanced biotechnology rather than weapons. The attacking force, which they called the Nexus, had appeared without warning 3 lunar cycles ago, demanding resources and subjugation. When the Alani refused, the bombardment began. They've been systematically destroying our cities, explained Sealer, who appeared to be a leader among the survivors. The translation was rough, but the meaning clear. We have no weapons to fight them. Our last scientists encoded a distress call into the old stellar beacon, but we never believed anyone would respond. How many of your people are left? Chen asked. Sellers' multifaceted eyes dimmed. Perhaps 20,000 from a population of millions. These are the last in this region. Rodriguez examined some of the Elani technology that still functioned in their shelter. Their tech is remarkable, she reported to Reyes over the comm. Advanced bioengineering, organic computing systems, materials we've never seen before, but nothing that could stand against those ships. The Nexus will find us soon, Seller said. The bunker's shielding is failing. We sent the call hoping, dreaming that someone might remember us after we're gone. Major Chen stepped away to confer privately with Commander Reyes. The situation is dire. We can't evacuate this many, and we can't defeat that fleet. On the Pathfinder, Reyes studied the tactical display. The alien ships continued their bombardment, methodically working their way toward the bunker's location. It was only a matter of time. No, she agreed, we can't defeat them with firepower. But humanity didn't get to the stars by giving up when outgunned. She tapped her console, calculating. Major, I need you to gather all the information you can about the Nexus ships. Weaknesses, patterns, anything. And ask the Elani about their biotechnology. I'm forming a plan. As she ended the transmission, Lieutenant Zhang approached with fresh sensor data. Commander, I've been analyzing the enemy fleet. There's something odd about their attack pattern. Show me, Reyes ordered. Zhang highlighted sectors on the map. They're systematically destroying cities, yes, but they're also targeting these specific locations with precision strikes. He zoomed in on one such location. This was hit just before we arrived. According to the planetary scans, it appears to have been some sort of agricultural facility. Reyes studied the data, her mind racing. They're not just conquering the Elani. They're deliberately destroying their food production. Starvation as a weapon, Zhang agreed grimly. Reyes' eyes narrowed as pieces of the puzzle began falling into place, or something else entirely. Get me Dr. Rodriguez immediately. Humanity's answer. You want us to do what? Dr. Rodriguez stared at Commander Reyes through the holographic display, disbelief evident in her voice. You heard me correctly, Doctor, Reyes replied calmly. I want you to work with the Elani scientists to weaponize their agricultural biotechnology. Commander, I'm a xenobiologist, not a weapons designer. And that's exactly why you're perfect for this. The Nexus isn't just destroying the Elani, they're systematically eliminating their food sources. Lieutenant Zhang noticed the pattern. I think there's a reason. On the planet's surface, Rodriguez looked to Siller and the small group of Elani scientists who had gathered to assist the humans. Through the translation device, she explained Reyes' theory. The commander believes the Nexus may have a vulnerability to your plant life or agricultural methods. Is there anything unique about your biological science that might support this? The Elani conferred among themselves, their multiple limbs gesturing rapidly in what appeared to be excitement. Our symbiotic cultivation, Seller finally replied. It is the foundation of our civilization. With growing understanding, the Elani scientists revealed their world's greatest achievement, a system of agriculture based on symbiotic relationships between plants and microorganisms that could rapidly adapt to any environment. These engineered organisms communicated at a cellular level, sharing resources and information to maximize growth and resist disease. Their entire ecosystem is essentially one interconnected network, Rodriguez reported back to the Pathfinder. It's brilliant. They've created a biological internet that spans their planet. But I don't see how this helps us fight the Nexus. Ask them what happens when these organisms encounter something foreign, Reyes suggested. The answer changed everything. They adapt, Rodriguez explained, excitement building in her voice. The Elani engineered their symbiotic network to analyze, incorporate, and if necessary, neutralize any foreign biological material. It's their planet's immune system, And the Nexus is destroying it because they know it's a threat, Rice concluded. Major Chen, I need your team to capture samples from one of those ships. We need to know what we're dealing with. The mission was dangerous but essential. Using the Pathfinder's stealth technology and a diversion created by manipulating the planet's weather systems, another Elani biotechnology, Chen's team managed to approach one of the smaller Nexus vessels that had descended to the surface to deploy ground forces. What they discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. The Nexus weren't organic beings in the traditional sense. They were a fusion of crystalline structures and biotechnology, more machine than life, but with biological components that defied easy classification. They're essentially living ships, Chen reported as his team returned with samples. The crew and vessel are one integrated system. Working around the clock, Rodriguez and the Elani scientists analyzed the samples and developed a daring plan. They would weaponize the Elani's symbiotic organisms to target the biological components of the Nexus. It's a virus, essentially, Rodriguez explained to the command staff, but one that will only affect the Nexus biocomponents. It will disrupt their communication systems from within. But how do we deliver it? Chen asked. We can't exactly ask them to inhale. It was Lieutenant Zhang who provided the final piece of the puzzle. Their ships absorb energy from their weapons discharge. They're feeding on the destruction. If we can package the agent in an energy form they'll absorb. The Pathfinder's main deflector, Rice finished. We can modify it to emit an energy signature they'll find irresistible, laced with the biological agent. The plan was audacious, requiring the Pathfinder to reveal itself and draw the attention of the Nexus fleet. It would place the ship and crew in extreme danger, but no one voiced objection. They had all seen the destruction wrought upon the Elani. If this works, Rice told her crew, we save a civilization today. If it doesn't, she left the alternative unspoken. They all knew the risks. The Pathfinder emerged from stealth orbit, its deflector dish pulsing with modified energy. As predicted, the Nexus ships immediately detected the vessel, and several broke off from their bombardment to investigate. They're taking the bait, Zhang reported from Tactical. 3 ships on intercept course. Hold position, Rice ordered. Let them come to us. The bridge crew watched tensely as the crystalline ships approached, energy weapons charging. At the last possible moment, Rice gave the order. Now, full power to the deflector. The Pathfinder's modified deflector dish fired a concentrated beam directly at the lead Nexus vessel. The beam appeared to be absorbed by the... This is just the beginning, Seller told them. We have detected signals from other civilizations in nearby systems. Some may also face threats they cannot combat alone. Together, perhaps we can answer their calls as well. 6 months later, the UES Defender, Earth's first true warship, built with technology reverse-engineered from the Nexus vessels, prepared to depart on its maiden voyage. Commander Rice stood on its bridge, now wearing the insignia of captain. Course laid in for the Proxima Centauri system, her new navigation officer reported. The colonial settlement there has reported unusual activity at the edge of their sensor range. Message from Earth Command, Captain, the communications officer announced. Admiral Jackson sends his regards and a note that 3 more ships have been commissioned. The diplomatic corps is already flooded with requests from 17 previously unknown species seeking alliance with humanity. Rice smiled. In the space of 1 year, humanity had gone from wondering if they were alone in the universe to becoming its newest protector. Take us out, Lieutenant, she ordered. Best speed to Proxima Centauri. As the Defender accelerated into FTL, distant eyes watched from across the galaxy. The story had already spread, of a young species from a blue world who answered a desperate call when no one else would. A species whose first act upon entering the galactic community was not conquest or exploitation, but salvation. Humanity had answered the call, and the galaxy would never be the same.